boys hugging it out. Willson Contreras and Ian Happ, neither of which were traded.
The very thing I joked about right
Yes.
before we went on vacation was,
Wouldn't it be funny?
Wouldn't it be hilarious if all that hugging and crying was for nothing?
Hug it out, bitches. maybe they just love each other. They're just loving each other in the dugout. It's fine. You know, there's nothing wrong with a couple hugs and some tears. But
maybe they didn't have as much value as they both thought they had.
Well, they certainly didn't have as much value as Jed Hoyer thought they had.
That's for sure. Jesus.
Because neither were moved. One thing I do need to bring up specifically with Willson Contreras is, I think we mentioned it on episode 111, close to a month ago, that there was kind of a small story where the international draft was not ratified by MLB or the MLBPA just before the trade deadline happened. And that was significant in that we went back to last year and previous year's rules where there would be draft compensation for free agents who rejected qualifying offers in the offseason. And if that international draft had been created, that would have eliminated that somehow. I forget how they were tied together, but that was the key factor in that. And that's why we didn't see a whole lot of trades early. Most of them were closer to the trade deadline, simply because everyone is waiting to find out what the landscape was. What are we playing with here? What are the rules going to be for next year? And once that did not get created, that kind of told everyone, well, you are going to have draft compensation for any free agents that you extend qualifying offers to that reject those. And I think what happened specifically with Willson Contreras is, I think the Cubs will be happy to extend him a qualifying offer, even if I don't know what that cost is right now. I forgot to look that up, or what. I don't even know if that's been calculated yet. It's going to be a hefty price for whoever, but I think they'd be happy to sign him for maybe an expensive 1-year deal, or they'd also be happy to take draft compensation, considering, that's got to be more valuable than whatever offers they were getting for Contreras. So
right.
I think that's the mitigating factor. I think they win either way. Because like I was saying before, I wouldn't mind Contreras. I love Contreras. He'd be great to have on the Cubs, but I don't want him for a 5-year deal or anything like that. As a 30-year-old catcher, his skills are going to decline, even though it's helpful to have the DH now in the National League. But his value is because he can also catch. And he is going to sign, he would sign for, he's obviously looking for a long-term big money deal. I don't mind the Cubs, signing him for, I was going to say a 3-year deal would be acceptable. But if they can get him on a qualifying offer and he agrees to it for 1 year, even better. Why not do that? So I think that kind of made more sense to me why Contreras wasn't traded, even though it seemed like it was inevitable that he would be. And of course, he thought the same thing as he was hugging it out with Ian Happ. Happ, you and I talked about his possibilities of being traded.
Another year.
We definitely thought it was a lower possibility that he'd be gone because he's had his breakout year. Why not hold on to him for another year? Although he's tailing off a little bit here in the second half, but maybe that's just a couple bad weeks. But so I guess in context, it's a funny headline, and you think of the pictures of them hugging it out, and it's funny that neither of them were traded. But if looking back, understanding the full picture, I think it makes some sense why that didn't happen. But I think part of that is Hoyer maybe overplayed his cards in that they thought they were going to get a lot bigger offers for Contreras or Happ, and it seems like all GMs in that position were kind of slapped with a dose of reality, as we didn't see those kind of deals get done. So
yeah.
Who was traded from the Cubs it's kind of a mixed bag too. Dave Robertson, I thought, was the number one trade commodity, and they did indeed trade him. I thought that made a lot of sense. They also traded Scott Efros, which I think it caught a lot of people off guard because he's under control for several years, having a breakout season. Very well liked in the clubhouse. He's been on Ian Happ's The Compound podcast a few times. Fun guy. I think he's famous for almost being out of baseball at one point several years ago, and I think a Cubs pitching coach encouraged him to try to throw sidearm at one point, and he just tried it, and it started to kind of work for him, and then it started to really work for him, and it made him into a dominant reliever right now with a lot of value. So it's kind of perplexing with that much control, though, that why the Cubs wouldn't hold on to him. But the only thing I can think of is maybe they were just absolutely blown away by the offer they got, and the pitcher, I forget the actual name of the pitcher they got for him, was of such quality that, well, shit, we might as well cash in right now. Maybe they think he might have elbow issues down the road. Who knows? But that was kind of a head scratcher. I don't think many people saw Scott Efros. I think I want to say Zac Efron. Yeah, every time. I don't even know who that is. Is he a pop star? What is he? Is he an actor?
He's an actor. He did one. He's done a couple funny movies. But I did admit something to you earlier during the Tigers segment, similar to your Zac Efron thing. When I was making notes for this show, I put instead of El Avila, I put Bob Avila, like Bob
Bob Vila,
like Bob Vila, and I'm like,
from
that's not right. I'm like,
this
is not right. What is wrong? I'm like, oh, it's L. That's it.
He may or may not be the new GM of the Detroit Tigers eventually. Bob Vila may have done just as good a job as Al Avila over the last 7 years. That's great.
Oh, shit.
Word Hole Media.